All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honors to all the apostles, a great millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharim, the house of David, that's been preordained, predestined to get delivered in these last times, and to be the ruling governing body of the nation of Yasha Allah. I just want to get into a quick lesson, all right? And Esau, speaking about Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, all right? And your rulership is at its end. And these elites, they know it. They see the chariots. They see Israel waking back up, preaching. They see the men of the Lord. They see Israel waking back up to their heritage, all right? So Esau knows that he's at the end. Or he knows that he's at the end of his kingdom. Because it's the end of this man's world, but it's the beginning of our world. Once Yahawashi returns, destroy this man's system, he's going to establish his kingdom upon the earth. It's lucky about that. But as I was saying, it's the end of this man's world, his kingdom, but it's the beginning of our kingdom. Once Yahawashi returns and establishes his kingdom. So this is 2 Esdras chapter 8 verse 1. And he answered me saying, the Most High hath made this world for many. See, this world was made for many. Especially you Edomites, but for you heathens. Because you're all in cahoots with the elites. Talking about these higher authorities and these other heathen nations. Because when the jab came, they were all pushing it. Every nation. That shows you that they're in cahoots. So when this chip comes, they're all going to be for it. Because the elites that's running this whole thing. They have establishments. They have their hand in all these nations. So this world was made for many. But the world to come only for the Israelites. But on this first go around, only the elect have the nation of Israel. All right. It says, and he answered me saying, the Most High hath made this world for many, but the world to come for a few. I will tell thee a similitude, Esdras, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much mold, whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this present world. So it's going to happen. At the end of this world, at the end of this man's kingdom, his society, it's going to happen. We're at the end of it already. All right, but the collapse, the total destruction, the annihilation is going to happen. And America is going to be destroyed by what? By ICBMs, by nuclear fire. And all that has to come. But before the destruction is what? The RFID chip in World War III. Okay? Which we're seeing the process of all of that. It says, there be many created, but few shall be saved. So, only few are going to be saved, and that's the elect of the nation of Israel. Not every nation, not every person that believes. No, only few. And you have to be an Israelite anyways. All right? A so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, and we've been scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, so you may look like another nation. You have Israelites that look like other nations, all right? And the millions, okay? If not billions, because we're the majority of the earth, believe it or not. You have millions of Israelites in India that look like Indians. Now, don't get it twisted. Yes, there's, of course, a lot of heathens, but there's a lot of Israelites all over the world, and you can see it just by, the spirit. You gotta have spiritual discernment. You can see how a person moves, that they're an Israelite, the way they dance. You look at certain hip hop videos, people in China, those dance studios, and a lot of them are Jake. The way they move, you can just tell they have that certain swagger. Okay. Not every Jake's going to have a hat to the back with some Jordans on. Some Jake are going to be out living in a remote place have a farm, you know, because, hey, we're scattered all throughout the earth, man. Okay? So let me get Second Ezra. Go back to Second Ezra, actually. 6, verse 9. And it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. So that shows you that this whole everything, this whole plot in this movie is all about Jacob and Esau. Okay? Because Ezra was asking the angel, like, when is the end gonna come? Because remember, he asked the angel this, and it's like he asked the angel this. Actually, that's in the same verse, or the same chapter, I mean. But he asked the angel this. I'm gonna start at 54, just for newcomers. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of whom come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So there's a distinction. The Lord's only dealing with his people. Okay? So we all come out of Adam. All the nations of the earth come out of Adam, but he only chose a certain people, a certain nation. Okay? Goddamn demon. Somebody shut the window, you know. They get offended by this truth, man. A lot of you 2/3 niggas, y'all gonna fucking perish. Alright? A lot of y'all that get offended by this word, you gonna fucking perish, man. You know, you weak motherfuckers, man. Excuse my French. But it says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. So the world was made for our sakes. All right? And we want to rule. We have a ruling class mentality. A lot of you weak niggas like this one that, he just slammed the window. Like, trying to make a statement. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. No, that's what he's thinking. And you don't got to do it like that, you know? But he has a weak-ass mentality. A nigga that just play Fortnite all day. Like, hey, these people are going to perish. But we have a ruling class mentality. The world was made for our sakes. Okay? But we're cursed. And we're waiting for the Lord to return to take us out of punishment. And then we're going to be forever blessed in our kingdom, in our world. Never going off. You see? Because the law, statute, commandments are going to be written in our minds and our inward parts. So we're going to be programmed to be righteous. So we're going to be immortals. Because the reason why we die is because of sin. All right? Immortal gods with spiritual power. And it says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So you have a bucket of water, and you're carrying it, and little drops might fall out, but you're not too worried, because you still have an abundance of water in that bucket. That's how the Lord is liking us, and he's liking the heathens. You are like the drops of water that fall out of that bucket. We're still that remaining body of water in that bucket. We matter to the Lord. We actually, are in his thoughts. You're not. But here's the point. It says, and now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, and have begun to be Lord over us, and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover. You see, that's how the Lord thinks of us. Are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? So Ezra was wondering, like, man, how long is this going to endure? All right. And now we're finally at the end where we're about to get out of this punishment. We're not going to endure this much longer. Because we're going to rule in the kingdom. And Esau, his kingdom is at the end. Okay? Esau, Edom, he's the last, his kingdom's the last kingdom of all heathens. Remember when Daniel, in the book of Daniel's, when Nebuchadnezzar saw the image of the stone, and Daniel was interpreting it to the king, Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. All right? Actually, let me get the scriptures. Let the scriptures speak. Okay. Daniel chapter 2, verse 31. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. The image's head was of fine gold, that's the Babylonians. His breast and his arms of silver, that's the Medo-Persians. His belly and his thighs of brass, that's the Greek Empire. That was the beginning of Esau Edom's, kingdom being established. Okay. Starting with who? King Alexander, but then it transferred to his 4 generals, or years later, because he died in 323 BC, King Alexander, and Ptolemy, Seleucus, Lysimachus, and Cassander, the 4 generals, they started to rule around like 302, 306 BC, around that time frame. And they put hell on our people, especially the ones that came out of Seleucus, that lineage, and Ptolemy. The whole Hellenization period started with them. It says, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. That's the Roman Empire. And the feet part of iron and clay is the Roman Empire revived all over again, compromised the NATO and the EU. And we're here. We're in the Roman Empire revived all over again. We're at the last, stage of this man's kingdom being destroyed. It says, thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. That's Yahawashi. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away. That's the nuclear missiles that's going to destroy this kingdom. That no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. You see, that's Yahawashi's kingdom. Because you have bounds you cannot pass, Esau. This Job chapter 14, verse 5, and I'll end off here. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So you have bounds you cannot pass. It's like you go to the beach and you see the ocean water. It comes to the shore and then it reclines. It goes back. That's like your kingdom. It cannot go past a certain point. The day the Lord has appointed for your kingdom to be destroyed will be fulfilled. And that's called prophecy, because we're telling you what's going to happen before it happens. Because we're the prophets of the Lord. Okay, and after your kingdom is destroyed, the kingdom of heaven, once Yahawashi returns, will be established forever. So I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem HaKodash. Double honor to my other apostles, a great millstone, and peace and citation to the elect. Shalom.